It was the year 2194. Earth had come a long way since the old days. Once people had fought over land, money, and power. But when the stars called, humanity listened. New ships were built. New worlds were found. Earth became part of something bigger, the Galaxy Council. The Galaxy Council ruled over many planets. They promised peace and trade. They shared technology that Earth could only dream of. People called it the greatest alliance in history. But not everyone trusted the Council, and Captain Jack Riker was one of them. Jack Riker stood on the deck of the Earth's flagship, the Orion Blade, staring out into the black sea of space. He had served the Earth Defense Fleet for 10 years. His job was simple: protect Earth at any cost. Today, his mission was different. He had been sent to attend the Council's High Assembly on Varnax Prime. Varnax Prime was the heart of the Council. It was not like Earth. Its sky was dark purple. Its buildings shined like glass towers that touched the clouds. Strange ships filled the skies. Aliens of all kinds walked the streets. Jack had seen it before, but it still made him uneasy. As he entered the council hall, he saw them all, the leaders of over 100 worlds. At the center sat High Chancellor Vorix, tall and thin with skin like polished stone. His eyes were cold, always watching. Jack had met him once before. He didn't like him then, and nothing had changed. The assembly began. Vorix stood and spoke in a calm, deep voice. "Today we celebrate Earth's 10 years in the Council," Vorix said. "Earth has grown strong with our help. We see Earth as a true partner." The hall filled with soft applause. Jack nodded but said nothing. He had heard these words before. Words were cheap. After the speeches, Vorix called Jack into a private chamber. 2 guards stood by the door. The air felt heavy. "Captain Riker," Vorix began, "Earth has done well. But there is a new danger." Jack raised an eyebrow. "What danger?" "Rebel fleets." "Pirates," Vorix answered. "They attack Council ships. We must keep peace. For that, all member worlds must turn over their defense systems to Council control." Jack's heart skipped a beat. "You mean you want Earth to give up its weapons?" Vorix nodded slowly. "Yes, we will protect Earth. You must trust us." Jack clenched his fists. He knew this was wrong. Without weapons, Earth would be helpless. But he kept his face calm. "I will bring your message to Earth's leaders," Jack said. Vorix smiled slightly. "Good. Do not delay." The meeting ended. Jack walked back to his ship in silence. He looked back one last time at the glowing towers of Varnax Prime. Something felt wrong. Too easy. Too smooth. He had seen real peace before. This was not it. Back on the Orion Blade, Jack gathered his crew. His second-in-command, Lena Park, stood by his side. "What do they want, Captain?" she asked. Jack looked around at his team. "They want us to give up our defense systems," he said. "All of them." Gasps filled the room. "They say it's for peace," Jack added. "But I don't buy it." Lena frowned. "What do we do?" Jack took a deep breath. "We go home. We tell the truth. And we prepare for what comes next." The ship left Varnax Prime and set course for Earth. Jack stood by the window, watching the stars pass by. His mind raced. He knew this was just the beginning. The real fight had not yet begun. The Orion Blade reached Earth 2 days later. It landed in New Geneva, Earth's capital city. From space, Earth still looked beautiful. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. But to Jack, it felt different now. It felt like something dark was coming. Earth's leaders gathered in the council chamber. The room was high and wide, with glass walls that showed the snowy mountains outside. President Elena Cross sat at the head of the table. She was calm but firm, known for keeping Earth in the council's favor. Jack stood before the leaders. He told them everything Vorix had said. The room fell silent when he spoke the words, "Turn over all defense systems to the council." President Cross leaned forward. "Did Vorix say why?" Jack nodded. "He spoke of rebels. Pirates. He promised the council would protect us." Some leaders whispered to each other. Others shook their heads. President Cross sighed. "We cannot fight the council, Captain," she said softly. "We are just one planet." Jack's hands tightened into fists. "Without weapons, we are nothing. We are prey." "Careful, Captain," warned Minister Hargrove, one of the oldest leaders. "Speaking against the council is dangerous." Jack looked around the room. He saw fear in their eyes. They were afraid to lose the Council's favor. They were afraid to stand alone. "I have served Earth my whole life," Jack said. "I won't let us walk into a trap." President Cross stood. "We will meet again tomorrow. For now, you are dismissed." Jack left the chamber, angry and restless. He knew they wouldn't fight. They would obey. He had to find proof. He had to show them the truth. That night, Jack sat alone in his quarters. The city lights of New Geneva shined through his window. His mind raced with questions. Why now? Why Earth? A small light blinked on his table. It was a private message, locked with a code only he knew. Jack opened it. The message was short. "Meet me at the old power plant. Midnight. Come alone. Sora." Jack's heart skipped. Sora Tanis. A council technician. An old friend. He hadn't heard from her in years. At midnight, Jack arrived at the old power plant. It was quiet and dark. The place had been shut down for years. He walked carefully, checking every shadow. "Sora," he called. A figure stepped out. Short, thin, with dark hair. "Sora." She rushed to him. "Jack, you have to listen. There's no time." Jack looked around. "What's going on?" Sora pulled out a small data chip. "The Council lied. It's not pirates. It's a plan to strip Earth of its tech, leave us open to invasion." Jack stared at her. "How do you know?" "I work in the Council's system core. I saw the real orders. After Earth gives up its weapons, the Council will pull back. They'll let warlords take over. Vorix calls it controlled collapse." Jack felt a cold wave of anger rise in his chest. Why? They need Earth weak. Easy to control later. Easy to take resources without a fight. Jack took the chip. "Can this prove it?" Sora nodded. "Yes, but be careful. The Council watches everything." Jack grabbed her shoulder. "Come with me. You're not safe here." Sora shook her head. "I'll contact you when I can. Trust no one." Before Jack could say more, Sora slipped away into the dark. He stood there, holding the data chip tightly. His mind was spinning. This was the proof he needed. But he knew the Council would stop at nothing to keep their secret. He returned to the Orion blade and showed the chip to Lena. "What now?" she asked. Jack looked out the window at the sleeping city. "Now," he said, "we fight back." The next day, Jack stood before Earth's leaders again. The Council chamber was full. Everyone waited for him to speak. Jack held the small data chip in his hand. He looked around the room. He knew this might be the last chance to save Earth. He stepped forward. "I have proof the Council is lying," Jack said. "This chip holds secret orders. The Council plans to leave Earth helpless. They plan to let us fall." The leaders looked at each other, uneasy. President Cross leaned forward. "How did you get this?" Jack told them about Sora. He explained everything. Some leaders listened. Some shook their heads in disbelief. Minister Hargrove stood up, his face red with anger. "This is dangerous talk, Captain," Hargrove snapped. "You bring fear, not facts. You put us at risk." Jack stayed calm. "I only bring the truth." President Cross took the chip. She had her science team check it. After a long, tense hour, they returned. "The data is real," one of the scientists said. "The orders are clear. The Council plans to withdraw after Earth gives up its defenses." Gasps filled the chamber. The room broke into loud arguments. Some shouted to obey the Council. Others demanded to resist. President Cross stood and raised her hand. The room fell silent. "This changes everything," she said. "But if we resist, Earth could face war." Jack stepped forward again. "We can prepare. We can hide our weapons. We can stand strong." President Cross looked at the leaders. "We vote. Stand or surrender." The vote began. The room was split. In the end, the votes were clear. Most chose to surrender. They were too afraid to fight. Jack felt anger and disappointment. He had failed to change their minds. But deep down, he knew what he had to do. Later that night, Jack met with Lena and his trusted crew. "We're going to hide Earth's weapons," Jack said. "We'll keep them out of the Council's hands." Lena looked worried. "That's treason." Jack nodded. "I know, but if we don't, Earth is finished." His team agreed. Quietly, they spread out. They started moving weapons, ships, and defense codes to hidden places, old bunkers, underground bases, and secret space stations. Days passed. Earth's leaders met with Vorix again. They told him Earth would obey. Vorik smiled. You have chosen wisely, Vorik said. But behind that smile, Jack saw something cold. Vorik already knew Earth was weak. He had won without a fight, or so he thought. As Vorik walked through the city, he stopped to speak with Jack alone. You are wise to stand down, Captain, Vorik said. The Council protects those who obey. Jack looked him in the eye. We haven't stood down, Chancellor. Not yet. Vorix's smile faded. His eyes narrowed. Be careful, Captain, Vorix warned. Rebels have no place in the Council. Jack watched Vorix leave. His heart pounded. The game had changed. The Council would strike soon. Jack knew it. He had to be ready. Back on the Orion Blade, Jack called his team together one last time. The Council will come for us, he told them. They think we are weak. They think we will fall. But they are wrong. He looked at each of them, seeing the fear and courage in their eyes. We fight for Earth. We fight for our future, no matter the cost. Lena nodded. We're with you, Captain. Outside, the night sky looked calm. But Jack knew the storm was coming. He knew Vorix would bring the Council's fleet. And when they came, Jack would be ready. It happened faster than anyone expected. Only 2 days had passed since Vorix left Earth. Now, the Council's fleet filled the sky. Hundreds of massive ships floated above Earth. Their lights burned bright. Their weapons were ready. People in New Geneva ran to shelters. Sirens wailed across the city. Jack stood on the command bridge of the Orion Blade, watching the enemy ships on his screen. Lena stood beside him. They're not here to talk, Captain. No, Jack replied. They're here to take Earth by force. A message came through. Vorix appeared on the screen. His voice was cold and sharp. Earth has broken trust with the Council. Stand down now, or face destruction. Jack leaned toward the screen. We will never bow to traitors. Vorix's face hardened. The screen went black. Jack turned to his crew. Battle stations. Prepare all defenses. This is it. All over Earth, hidden bases came alive. Old missile sites, underground bunkers, and secret space stations powered up. Ships hidden in deep caves launched into the sky. Earth's real defense fleet was ready. The Orion Blade led the charge. Earth's ships flew toward the Council's fleet. They were smaller, fewer in number, but they carried the hope of every human on Earth. The first shots were fired. Bright lasers lit up the dark sky. Explosions flashed across space. Earth's ships dodged and weaved, striking back with everything they had. Jack's voice rang out across the fleet. Hold the line. Protect Earth at all costs. The Council's ships were strong. Their weapons tore through Earth's defense lines. Many Earth ships exploded, their crews lost in silence. But the fighters pressed on. On the ground, people fought too. Citizens armed themselves with old weapons. They built roadblocks and traps. Soldiers defended the cities. The Council had sent small attack squads to land on Earth, but the people of Earth stood together. In the middle of the fight, Sora's voice came through the ship's comm system. Jack, it's Sora. I'm in the Council's system. I can slow them down. Jack grabbed the comm duet. We need every second. Sora worked fast. Deep inside the Council's network, she hacked into the enemy's ships. One by one, some Council ships lost power. Their shields dropped. Their weapons froze. Hit them now, Jack shouted. Earth's fleet struck hard. The Council's ships shook under the attack. But there were still too many. Jack knew they couldn't win this battle head-on. He made a quick decision. We go for the command ship, he told Lena. If we take out Vorix, we end this. Lena nodded. It's risky. I know, Jack replied. But it's our only chance. The Orion Blade changed course. It dodged enemy fire and sped toward the largest ship in the fleet, the Council Starcruiser Vengeance. The enemy noticed. Dozens of ships moved to block them. Earth's remaining ships followed the Orion Blade, drawing fire, giving Jack a small path through. The ship shook as it took heavy hits. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Crew members held their ground. We're almost there, Lena shouted. Jack gripped the controls. He knew this was the moment. Win or lose, it all ended here. The Orion Blade locked onto the Vengeance's docking bay. Jack grabbed his helmet and turned to his team. We board that ship, he said. We finished this face to face. His team nodded, fear in their eyes, but not backing down. The docking clamps locked. The doors opened. Jack took the first step into the enemy's heart. The air was thick with smoke as Jack Riker and his team stepped onto the Council's command ship, the Vengeance. The halls were wide, made of black metal, cold and silent. Jack held his blaster tight. His heart pounded in his chest. Behind him, Lena and 10 of his best soldiers moved quietly. They knew they had little time. Outside, Earth's fleet was still fighting, but they wouldn't last long. Jack's only hope was to reach Vorix and end this war from inside. They moved through the dark halls, stepping over broken panels and sparking wires. Sora's voice came through their earpieces. "I've disabled the cameras for now," she whispered. "But I can't hold them down for long." "Just keep the way clear," Jack replied. They reached a large blast door. Behind it was the control room, where Vorix commanded the fleet. Jack placed a small explosive on the door. He looked at his team. "This is it," he said. The door blew open with a sharp blast. Jack and his team rushed in, weapons ready. Inside, Vorix stood on a raised platform. He was calm, as if he had expected this. Around him stood several armed guards, their weapons pointed at Jack's team. Vorix raised his hand. The guard paused. "So brave, Captain Riker," Vorix said, his voice cold. "But you are too late. Earth is already lost." Jack stepped forward. "No, Earth is fighting. Your fleet is falling apart." Vorix gave a thin smile. "Your people are dying, Captain, and soon you will join them." Jack kept his weapon raised. "Call him off, Vorix. End this." Vorix laughed softly. "You still believe you have power here?" Jack nodded to Sora. A second later, the large screen behind Vorix lit up. All the Council's member planets could now see and hear what was happening. Sora had hacked the Council's broadcast system. "People of the Council," Jack spoke loudly. "This is the truth your leaders hide from you. They promised peace, but they brought war. They promised safety, but they planned betrayal." Gasps and shouts echoed through the broadcast. Leaders from other planets appeared on the screen, their faces shocked and angry. Vorix's smile vanished. His eyes burned with hate. "You will regret this, Riker," Vorix hissed. Vorix's guards moved to attack. Blaster fire filled the room. Jack and his team took cover, returning fire. The fight was quick but brutal. One by one, the guards fell. Jack climbed the steps to face Vorix. "Give up," Jack said. "It's over." Vorix lunged at Jack with a hidden blade. The two men struggled. Vorix was strong, but Jack fought with everything he had. Finally, with a sharp strike, Jack knocked Vorix to the ground. Vorix lay there, breathing hard, beaten. "You think this changes anything?" Vorix spat. Jack leaned closer. "Everything has changed." More voices filled the broadcast. Leaders from other planets began calling for Vorix's arrest. Some ordered their fleets to stand down. Others turned their ships against the Council's forces. Lena looked at Jack, hope shining in her eyes. "We did it." Jack nodded, but he knew the fight was not over yet. Earth's fleet was still out there, holding the line. "Sora, shut down their fleet systems," Jack ordered. Sora worked fast. Lights across the Vengeance dimmed. Council ships began to power down one by one. Earth's fleet stopped firing. The enemy stopped firing too. The battle was over. Jack stood on the platform, looking at the broadcast. The galaxy had heard the truth. The Council's grip was broken. He turned to his team. "Get ready to bring Vorix back to Earth. We're taking him to answer for his crimes." The crew nodded. They had won the battle, but there was more work to do. Jack looked out the window at the stars. Earth had survived, but the fight for freedom had just begun. The Vengeance was silent as Jack and his team secured Vorix in chains. His cold eyes never left Jack's face, but the fight in him was gone. His fleet had failed. His lies had been exposed. Now, he had nothing left but his pride. Jack stood on the bridge and watched as more Council ships powered down. Sora had shut down their systems one by one. No more weapons. No more shields. The sky outside was finally calm. The broadcast still played across the Council's network. The leaders of other planets kept sending messages. Their faces showed anger, shock, and fear. President Kale Vares of Draylen 7, one of the Council's oldest members, spoke loudly on the broadcast. "Vorix betrayed us all," President Vares said. "He used us to build his power. He turned the Council into a tool for control. We will not stand with him any longer." One by one, other leaders spoke too. Some promised to leave the council. Some called for Vorix's trial. Some sent support to Earth, promising peace, not war. Jack took a deep breath. He had hoped for this, but he had never truly believed it would happen. The galaxy had seen the truth, and now, real change was coming. Lena walked to Jack's side. "Captain, Earth is calling," she said. "They want to speak with you." Jack nodded. He turned to the screen. President Elena Cross appeared. Her face was full of relief and pride. "Jack," she said softly, "you've done the impossible. Earth stands free." Jack nodded. "We held the line, Madam President, but we lost many good people. We will remember them," she promised. "Bring Vorix home. We will make him answer for what he's done." Jack turned to his crew. "Set course for Earth." The Orion blade pulled away from the Vengeance. Behind them, the Council's fleet stayed silent. Other planets had started to take control. Ships from Draylen, Seven, and other free worlds now moved in to help keep peace. The old Council was breaking apart. Hours later, the Orion blade entered Earth's orbit. Crowds gathered in New Geneva. People filled the streets, holding flags, holding hands, some crying, some cheering. The news had spread fast. Earth had stood up to the Council and won. Jack and his team landed and marched Vorix through the city. Soldiers stood guard. Citizens watched in silence. No one cheered for the prisoner. No one shouted. They simply watched, their faces cold. They had lost too much to celebrate too soon. Vorix was locked away in a high-security cell. He would face trial before Earth's leaders. Justice would come in time. Later that night, Jack stood on the balcony of the defense tower. He looked out at the stars. Lena joined him, holding 2 cups of hot tea. "You did it, Jack," she said softly. Jack shook his head. "We all did." Lena smiled. "What happens now?" Jack thought for a long moment. "We build something better," he said. "Not just for Earth. For every world that wants true peace. Do you think they'll follow us?" Lena asked. Jack nodded. "Some will. Others will need time. But we've shown them the truth. That's where it starts." Sora sent one last message before leaving Varnax Prime. She had joined the rebel planets to help rebuild the galaxy. Jack knew they would meet again one day. As the city lights glowed below, Jack closed his eyes and let out a long breath. The fight was over. Earth had survived, but the future was just beginning. 2 weeks had passed since the battle in Earth's sky. The Council's fleet had left Earth's orbit. The once powerful alliance had fallen silent. The world had changed. New leaders from other planets had started reaching out to Earth. Some were old friends. Some were once enemies. They all had one thing in common. They no longer trusted the Council. They wanted to build something new, something fair. In New Geneva, Earth's leaders gathered once again in the Great Council Chamber. But this time, there were no demands, no fear, and no empty promises. Instead, there was hope. President Elena Cross stood and spoke to the people watching across the planet. "Today, we do not stand alone," she said. "We stand with every world that chooses freedom over control, truth over lies, and peace over power." Outside, crowds cheered. The people of Earth had waited for this moment. They had paid the price, but they had won their future. Jack Riker stood with Lena on the steps of the defense tower. Around them stood his crew, the soldiers who had fought beside him, and the citizens who had refused to give up. Lena looked at Jack. "We should be proud." Jack nodded. "We should." They both watched as new ships landed in New Geneva. Ships from Draylen 7, Voltara Prime, and dozens of other free worlds. Leaders stepped out and walked toward Earth's leaders. These are the first members of the new alliance. An alliance built not on control, but on respect. Vorix remained locked away. His trial had not started yet. Earth's leaders wanted the galaxy to decide his fate together. Jack had no doubt the people would bring justice. Sora sent another message to Jack. She told him that Varnax Prime had fallen into chaos after Vorix was captured. But she also said something else. Many of the people there had started to rise up. They want to change too. Jack smiled as he read her message. The galaxy was waking up. Later that evening, Jack walked alone to the top of the defense tower. The stars were bright above him. He thought about the lives lost, the battles fought, and the long road ahead. Lena joined him again, standing quietly by his side. "You ever wonder if this is really the end?" she asked softly. Jack shook his head. No, it's just the beginning. They both looked up at the night sky. Somewhere out there, new threats would rise. New battles would come. But for now, Earth had earned its peace. And Jack knew one thing for sure. The Galaxy Council had betrayed Earth, but they would forever regret it. The wind was calm. The stars were clear. Earth was free.